Welcome to the Tradies in Business podcast with your hosts Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Divert your phone and grab a brew as Waz and Nick unpack tips, tales, secrets and stuff-ups from guests both inside and outside your trade, helping educate and inspire you to break the cycle of gut-busting and money stress and create a true trade business.
G'day and welcome to the Tradies in Business podcast. I'm joined by my co-host who doesn't have a weird podcasting voice like me. Coxie, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fantastic. I can't help it. I stick the microphone to my face and I just do my podcast voice.
I'm feeling weird today because I've got the roving mic thing happening and I like to get up and walk around with this and get my arms going.
And I'm sitting over here. I've got all the techo equipment and the
as
headphones
usual.
And I know everything that's going on and you're on the other side of the desk are you feeling a bit in the hot seat there, Coxie?
I feel really naked. I just don't know what's going on.
Now you know how our hot seat guests feel.
I know.
Or even just all of our guests.
Don't say
actually.
that because nobody will want to come and join us on the show.
So today's episode is another of our Real Tradie Guys interviews. We've been blessed enough to be able to interview Vetea from Timber Vision Concept today. So we'll roll that one in a second. So it's another of our very personal interviews where some of our guys and gals really share what's going on for them and our intent, well, my intent at least, Coxie, I'll speak for me and not for you, is that it brings to you, our listeners, I guess, some perspective that, other tradies, what they've been through, what they're going through, how they've learned from that, how they've grown from that. And certainly the feedback we're getting so far is very encouraging. So expect to hear more and more of these. We do have to say, I'll hand over to you, Coxie, but just a warning about today's episode. There are some fairly heavy conversations and events shared, particularly to do with mental health and suicide. So if you are in a space where you're not necessarily okay, we just want to warn you about that. There are some very quite open events shared in today's episode, and if you are struggling or if today's episode does bring anything up for you, then Coxie, we encourage everybody to get in touch with the right organisations.
Yeah, you can always DM or message us through the page. We're always here to help. Also Lifeline 13 11 14 or Mates in Construction. I think it's .org.
Yes.
.org. But just Google Mates in Construction. You'll find the guys there as well. They also have a line you can call. Probably not a great one for kids as well. So if you're listening in the car with the kids in the back, maybe shut this one down, listen to it a bit later.
Yeah, so some pretty heavy stuff discussed, but certainly we would encourage you to listen to this. As you would have seen, this episode is marked explicit. We don't sort of get super heavy with the language, but we just speak honestly.
It's not a Effort Friday episode.
No.
Didn't go quite there yet.
It's a tradies podcast. So by all means, have a listen. Vetea's got some fantastic stuff to share. It's not all doom and gloom. There are some amazing lessons in here for all of us in business and particularly for guys. So enjoy.
So we've had an interesting drive to meet up with our guest today. It's not something we've done before, was?
No, my heart rate's come down a little bit, Coxie.
Oh, come on, I drive nice. I might yell a bit on the way, but I drive nice.
Yeah, you're not too bad.
No, we've come down to Broadbeach to meet up with one of our Real Tradie Guys to give you another interview this week. Welcome, Vetea. Thank you for being here.
Hey, guys.
How you going, V?
Good, thanks.
Now, Vetea's pretty nervous, Coxie.
Yeah, he is.
So I think you should go easy on him.
I can be very kind. I'll be gentle. I won't hurt you, I promise.
She doesn't bite, mate. It's all right.
Vetea is part of our trade desk community, and we put the call out to ask some of our guys if they'd be interested in being part of what we do, and Vetea was brave enough to put his hand up and say, yep, let's give it a go. Not an easy thing to do, so I hope everyone listening can appreciate that sometimes it's a little bit confronting to do these things for the first time. V, why don't you give us a bit of a background? Tell us who you are and what it is that you do.
I do timber floors, so I work with wood, and we restore and refresh timber floors on the Gold Coast.
Have you been doing it for a long time?
About good 18 years, and probably working for myself for about 9 years.
And how are you finding business? Obviously, in 9 years, you've seen some things come and go. And most businesses don't get through those first 5 years. So congratulations straight up. To come out the other side and be 9 years in, you must have seen some big changes over the time.
Yeah, well, it's been really challenging, I guess. But I guess, I don't know, all I did was work. So I know how to make money and quoting and, working through the hard yards. But I think going through where I'm going now with working with you guys has been sort of understanding more about business instead of just working and making money and not sort of seeing where we're going. So in the long term.
How did you get into the business, mate?
Well, I used to be a chef, so I was chefing for 5 years because my first goal was to work for Club Med and travel around and kind of thing, and I thought chefing would have been a perfect idea, and because my second language is French as well, so I was going to travel, to Spain and France and do all that sort of stuff.
So
but
what's your first language, mate?
Oh.
How many have you got?
Tahitian, actually.
Yeah.
But
wow.
because I'm from Tahiti, so pretty much migrated here in '91 with all the family. So just my mum and my stepdad, and
yeah, nice.
And there's 6 of us in the family.
Yep.
Sure, we all live here, so it's been good.
Awesome, mate. And so, what got you out of chefing and into the trades?
Well, when I see all the boys and, partying on, and I'm sitting in the corner, cooking away for everyone to enjoy, especially, New Year's and Christmas and stuff. When, you're being a chef, you have to provide, be in the kitchen and stuff.
Double shifts and cleaning up.
And just the long hours. And I thought, nah, that's not me, So I got out of there. A friend of mine wanted a hand, so I started helping him, got really good at it, and ended up just going out on my own.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. So were you catering or something, or what were you doing then?
I was doing private, so I was either for kind of rich people, and they were hiring me to come in and cook for them for party events, and then I also worked for different cafes and like a big company that's kind of supplied to all the cafes along the Gold Coast, so we sort of provided that service.
Yep.
But I just got too sick of doing that. So, but I've been traveling now, been a trad. Like once I found timber flooring, I just found that traveling between each job and seeing the Gold Coast was a better way to live than actually sitting in the kitchen all day. So.
It's a far better lifestyle, if nothing else, isn't it?
Yeah, just meeting new people and just the way, they're so happy on the work we provide for them, and, just the change that would bring in their life by, restoring their floor and for their kids, especially if they've got asthma. And so it's so good, for, in that sense.
So why timber floors, mate? How did that decision get made? Because Pete the plasterer that we interviewed recently for our Real Tradie Guys episode, which, g'day listeners.
Sorry, Willis.
No, that's okay. He went from chefing to plastering. So you've gone chefing to timber floors, mate. You guys maybe should team up. You could create a business.
Yeah, I like Pete. I don't know. I guess working in the islands and stuff, I work with wood a lot, so was kind of something that's natural, and you could sort of do a lot with it, and that's kind of what I like, because I like working with my hands and and making a difference for people.
Yep.
Yeah,
nice, mate. I've seen some of your social media photos of the work that you do, and I know my wife oohs and ahs over the floors that you're stripping, mate. I assume she's looking at those and not your guns, mate. But yeah, it's definitely must be very satisfying, like stripping an old floor that's covered in paint or glue or old varnish or something, and just bringing that back to that beautiful luster that timber has. So it'd be a lot of fulfillment in that, I guess, mate.
Oh, definitely. Especially for new homeowners that that's the first time they bought their homes, and when they so much investment in it that they've put in, and at the end I'm the last person that comes out of it, and they're just looking at me going, just finish it so we can move in. So there's a lot of stress upon them, and especially with budget, because they're coming out to the end. But it's really fulfilling when you see the end result and then see them move in and, you know, and be so thankful of what we've done for them. So
it's interesting that you mentioned the stress. It is a really stressful time at the end of a build or a reno to have somebody,
Definitely.
another trade come in. That must have presented some challenges for you, particularly around pricing over the time.
yeah, definitely. Because at the end, they kind of want to, you know, they kind of their last leg, and they, you know, they're trying to screw everything down. But you know, at the end, it's what's their pride and joy, and they've, you know, invested so much money. So why, you know, go for less? So
That's right. I think people always find the money when they're motivated to.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And the result that you give, it is that little bit of cream on top of what they've spent so long doing. It's that last final touch that they really need to do to make it comfortable.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's a nice experience for families. I've done it a few times myself. I love it.
Yeah.
The results that you can get from a floor that looks like rubbish,
Yeah.
it just, you can transform. It's beautiful. It must be a really feel-good trade to be involved in.
Oh, definitely. And it's, you know, it's way better than being a chef. So you get yelled at, and you know, people are not happy with something, or. But no, it's a definitely fulfilling kind of job.
Do people ever come out at the end of a meal and say thank you to you as the chef?
Some people do, especially in the private events.
Yes.
In that side, you know, it's good.
Yeah.
But it's not as fulfilling as what I'm doing now.
No, it wouldn't
Yeah.
be. And you get to take the customer through the entire journey rather than just working behind the scenes to get the meal out. And if you're real lucky, somebody might say thank you, or you might get some positive feedback.
Yeah, that's
Otherwise,
right.
you might get the negative feedback. So
Yeah.
doing what you're doing now would be so much more fulfilling than what you've done before.
Definitely. Yeah.
So how did you find, you mentioned something earlier in the conversation about that transition between thinking as a worker, where you go to work and you work really hard to make the money, and then starting to think as a business owner, where you need to start working on all aspects of the business. What prompted that change in thinking for you? Was it observing somebody else doing something? Was it just realising that there's a bigger game to be played here? How did that come for you?
I guess because I've been in the game for so long now, I've met a lot of different, you know, flooring companies, and one of my friend, and he's 55, and I've just seen him, like, he's an awesome floor sander, and he does some beautiful work. But I've just seen him go, you know, have a beautiful home, have a beautiful family, and just lose everything. You know, he just lives in the shed. That broke my heart. And I know he's struggling, and I keep in contact with him, and he shuts me out. But I know that that's not me, and I don't want that. And then once I seen that, I thought, you know, what's worth it for me? Like, you know, what I've got to put in that hard yard and find out how, you know, what my business is like. And when I peeled it back layer by layer, I got scared and just went, wow, you know. And then just learning from you guys and different aspects of what business really is, and what you really need to do to focus on. I think it's it makes you realise that, you know, you can make money, but you can't really, like, you really got to know your numbers. You really got to understand where every bit of, you know, cash is going, and otherwise you sort of you're just floating, you know. And realising that now, I'm just, you know, if I don't put that 100% in, it's not going to happen. I've got to do it myself, you know.
Yeah, there's way more to it than people realise, you know. I see so many people getting into business, and actually after our last episode with Pete, I had one of our trade desk members actually send me a message, and he's like, mate, I just listened to that episode, and why do some people go into business? Like, it was just, you know, it's such a horrendous story, but I think there's so much good that comes out of it, and certainly there was some awesome messages from Pete, mate, about, you know, just the place he's gotten to in his life, where now he really does, he stays very aware of why he's working and what he's doing it for, and not sort of getting sucked into the system and into the machine. So I know you've got I suppose not an interesting story, that's maybe not the right word to use, Vetea, but you know, you came to Australia, you know, it's I guess a new country, young kid, you've grown up here, no doubt, but, you know, tell us a bit more about your personal journey, mate. I mean, the business stuff is obviously a window into that, but you know, maybe take it back a little earlier, mate. Like, what's been some of the experiences in your life that have shaped who you are and how you work in your business now?
Well, we moved here in 91 with myself and my family. So there's 6 of us. which was pretty hard because, we didn't know the language, and I've pretty much had to learn everything from scratch, and I was 12 back then. But getting into it, I think learning the language and working through, my parents were in religion really bad, like really hard, so really strict. So we kind of did a few years where my stepdad and I weren't really on par. So there's a lot of kind of emotional and physical abuse that happened over a few years, and I ended up moving out, or kind of leaving home when I was 16, and lived on the streets. Pretty much did what I had to do to survive. I didn't leave school straight away because I was like, I've got to stay there because I kind of have some sort of morals. And I could have gone either way. I could have been in jail, or but I decided to stay on the good side, and I worked and had 3 jobs, still going to school.
How old were you then, mate?
I think I just turned 17. So I spent a whole year living on the street, and then 17 I ended up getting 3 jobs, got into chefing, and that was my journey with chefing through there.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
And still going to school.
And still going to school. I had 3 jobs, and it was hard to manage, but I had 2 guys that helped me.
How on earth did you cope with that as a 17-year-old? No home, you're working, going to school. Like, how did you do at school? How was that experience?
School was hard. I think all I had in my head was just, if I just rocked up and gave it a go and just did what I had to do, and just to survive, I'll be fine. In my side, I was like always a fighter and trying to, you got to give it a go, just give it a go, So I had to face a lot of things on my own from 16. So with, emotional, physical, getting bashed or me bashing, or, it was just a lot of anger because of, a lot of stuff that's happened with me, my stepdad and everything. And I kind of never really sort of opened up, because as soon as I left, it was all about the boys, about us doing this, us getting drunk, us doing drugs or whatever. And, I stole cars, you just do anything and everything that just to survive, just to make money and just ends meet,
Yeah.
But, the groups that I was hanging in the first year was pretty bad, but, that kind of showed me a different light of what, street life is, and being homeless and stuff, But other than that, I think once I found chefing and I found that kind of that balance, I understood, I've got to work, I've got to pay rent, because before that I didn't know any of that. I didn't know how to pay rent or bills. I was only too young,
Of course.
And then I was nervous going to work, going, okay, all of a sudden I've got to pay, $300 and something for rent every week. And but just getting that, because I was never taught, like no one sort of taught me anything. I was like 16, see you later. And
a whole new world for you, mate.
Yeah, I had to pretty much find and work my arse off just to be who I am today,
Yeah. So I guess, because how old are you now, V?
39.
Yep. So this is a little while ago, but obviously still pretty vivid memories, mate.
Yeah, it's probably because not speaking out for so many years, like it's been something that I kind of bottled up, and I guess as a guy you do that often, you don't sort of see it for what it is, and you pretend and you take drugs or you smoke or you do anything, you drink, and trying to sort of hide it from the fact that, just face it and this is the real thing, and it sometimes it just comes out when you least expect it, and it's scary for me. Yeah.
So, how does that life now sort of play out through your business with, it is a very different world, I guess, being a business owner, and we're actually sitting here in Vetea's apartment, and you've got a beautiful apartment and a cool dog, by the way.
He's gorgeous.
If you haven't seen a photo of Vetea's dog,
you got to drop by the Tradies and Business Facebook page.
Yeah, go check out the Facebook page. But like, does it ever seem a little surreal to you, mate, doing what you're doing now? You're in these fancy houses, you're working on a penthouse at the moment on the Gold Coast, and compared to where you've come from, like, is there a weird, surreal nature to it sometimes?
I don't know. I guess I don't really look back because I've kind of always hidden it. So I don't really recognise those sort of achievements. You know, like I know we always talk about that on the trade desk, where we go, you know, it's always kind of do the small things and, you know, and praise them. But I don't do that, you know, and thank God that I have a beautiful partner that reminds me of that, and that helps. But no, like, I don't know, it's hard. I'm just trying to think forward, and I think if I go back in that, it's too scary for me, and I kind of shut down, and I don't know, I get lost, you know. Yeah.
It's pretty confronting to deal with some of those horrible things that happen to us during our lives, and so many of those things are really out of our control. There's not a lot we can do, particularly, you know, you're talking about obviously when you were quite young, this stuff happened to you, you become a victim of your own life in those cases. It's really hard to stop and take the time to look back and try and process what you've been through. But like you say, it does come up in other ways at various times, which makes it quite challenging for you as a business owner, as a partner, as a male, because there isn't that freedom to talk about your feelings. There isn't that space to sit down with your mates and have a chat about what you've been through. It makes it really hard for you. What is it in your life, or what steps have you been able to place in your life that have helped you through those times?
I guess having the right people around you. I think at a time where I was a low part of my life, where I ended up getting internal bleeding.
Wow.
And that comes from CrossFit.
Yes! I know it's bad
for you.
I
love CrossFit, don't get me wrong.
I think
love
it comes from you
CrossFit,
being
but
a
it's
little
just
bit mad,
me being, you know, I was just push myself. I was training twice a day.
Yeah.
You know, when you're snatching 145 kilos, you know, that shit's
Now
going to
you're just
happen.
bragging, mate.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just saying, like, when you're doing those heavy weights, it does happen. Deadlifting, you know, 180, all those sort of things.
Yeah.
You know, CrossFit pushes you. I love it. It makes you look like a badass, and you know, and I love it. I'm, you know, competing for 2-3 years, all those sort of things. That was my jam. I loved it, and that saved me. A lot of that, you know, if I didn't have training in my life, I think I would have been in the dumps a long time. Fight training for 7 years helped me, like, you know, traveling to Thailand and just learning with the Thais, actually, you know, and finding yourself. Like, I went to Thailand and plunked myself in the middle of Isan, which is, I don't know if you guys ever, you know, looked at the map, but Isan's is in the middle of Thailand, and it's where the locals live. And I pretty much, the ground was dirt. You know, you sleep on tiles, you eat pork and rice, and that's it. You know, help them live in the farms, and that really, really sort of made me kind of find myself again, go and appreciate the small things, because too many times we all just go through life where, you know, life is so quick, man. You don't, you know, really just appreciate, you know, your family, or, you know, just even the sunset or sunrise, you know, like, I think just being in the present that helped me really well, and knowing that, and that's how I found my partner, you know, after that. And coming back from that, finding myself for 7 years, I was trying to find love, you know, and it wasn't there because I wasn't ready, you know. I think most of the time, all we need is love, you know. Like, I've gone through a pretty hard time, and all I wanted was my mum's love, but, you know, I never got it. So, but, you know, and then today, now it's hard.
But you've got a beautiful partner. She's a gorgeous girl. She takes good care of you. We know that. We get to see it often. And I think you're absolutely right. All any of us want is to be loved, and it is missing from so many people's lives. It's not an easy journey for some of us. I've had my own experience. I don't talk to my own mother. She disowned me at a point in time in my life. It's shit. It's nothing on your journey. It's nothing like yours at all. But it's really bloody hard. And I think that there's not enough people talking about some of these family challenges that we have. And so it means that people like you, V, bottle this up and don't get the opportunity to talk about what they're going through.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
Yeah, it is.
Has there been, I guess, you know, you talk about appreciating the small things, mate. And, you know, I literally got a voicemail from my elderly father. You know, he's got a terminal illness. And I had a message from him the other afternoon. I'd come out of CrossFit, funnily enough. I didn't have any internal bleeding, mate, but I can't snatch 140 kilos, man. And I saw that there'd been a missed call and a message from my dad. And you know, we have a particular kind of a relationship. I wouldn't say we're super close. He's always been a really hard man. And I actually found myself feeling like, because I'd only spoken to him that morning, it's like, Dad, seriously, like, you know, I felt frustrated. And it's like, what the hell's he calling about now? And I played his voicemail back, and he had left me a message saying, if you're at home, have a look out your window to the west. The sunset is amazing.
Wow.
And I felt shit for being frustrated that Dad would ring me again, you know? Yep. And it's like, you know, how do we stay grateful? How do we stay connected to those small things, V? Like, you know, guys like you have been through such a tough road, have learned those lessons, obviously, and you know, it's vivid for you. But for those of us, even including myself, that have had what seems like a privileged life, when I listen to guys like you share your story, how do the rest of us stay present with that? How do we appreciate the sunset, or our nice car, or our partner, or the business that we've got?
I'm not. I guess, I don't know. For me, just something really bad had to happen for me to realise that. And you know, sometimes we don't really need that in our lives. And that's too much stress. You might as well, you know, just make that first step and just enjoy it and see life for what it is. But the effect that he had on me and my, you know, it took one day where I had a family, I had a business, and I lost it all in one day. And that was hard. You know, I went back. I had to leave my home with my 3 kids. I had an alcoholic back then. I had an alcoholic kind of partner, and which made it hard. I got done for drink driving that same night, so I lost my license for pretty much 5 years. Which made it really hard to try and, you know, fight through it. I wanted to kill myself. Mum found me with a knife in the room, and she stopped me from doing it, but I was pretty close. And that was hard to come out of it, you know. But, you know, what saved me was actually training and finding that if I worked on myself, on my health, on my body, on my mind, and just take those little steps, you know, on changing your life every morning, on getting up and just change it up. If you get up in the morning and you know, you're used to just grabbing that coffee or grabbing your phone, or, you know, going to the toilet or do something different than what you usually do. And that's what I work on now. I just try and do anything different that's not normal. And that helps me sort of engage and really look at myself, and, you know, and how I am towards my partner is probably the biggest thing. Because my thing is, if you can give your love to someone that you love, you get it back. So as much as you give the love to that person, you should get it back, and tenfolds, you know. So I'll work on that. If my partner and I 100%, then that means I can hustle and work on my business 100% without having to think about my relationship. And so I'll just work on that, on making sure that she's happy, and I provide for her, and, you know, I show her my love and do stuff different, you know, take her out monthly and where we go dating, or, you know, just different is key. But it's just finding that love and defining what love is for you is really the biggest key. Like, you know, I searched for love for so long, you know, and it was hard. And then once you've got it, and because sometimes in the state that you're at, you get so angry with the stress of, you know, money, kids, you know, exes, and, you know, then you got the emotional side that I didn't know I had, and it just comes out because you're so stressed. And when that comes out, like, I just feel where I don't know where I'm going. I've got this list of stuff to do, but I don't know which one it is, you know?
Yeah, yep. So what does a day look like for you? You've talked about some of those things that you do to do differently, I guess, to just the norm, you know, to keep that intention in your days, Vetea. Like, you know, doesn't sound like you just wake up, check Facebook, smash a coffee and hit the job site. It sounds like you go about your days a lot more intentionally than that.
Yeah, I guess first thing I do is connect with Crystal, my partner, and and we just have that chat first, because I believe sometimes communication is a big part. So by us talking in the morning, and and she knows what I'm going through at the moment, so she's been really, really, really good and helping me through all this. But that communication and us going for walks, taking Jack for walks first thing in the morning and seeing the sunrise, and that's first thing we do. And then I come back. My work comes second, so I make sure that I put her first, because so whatever happens, I always do that. And everything seems like, I know people think, oh, how can you do that? But it does. If you do that, it falls into place. Somehow or another, it does. But if you're happy and she's happy, man, you can hustle and you can work so much better, because your mind's so much clearer. You can make the right decisions and not sort of be confused and unaware of what's coming next. So
it sounds like it's very much your why, and it's what we're all working towards, isn't it? Finding our why and why we're in business and why we're doing it. And business should come second. It shouldn't be the first thing that you do all day, every day. So I think you've really found your direction there. I just want to draw into a point, and it's not something that many men talk about, and that's being mindful. And it's a real wanky word. Let's call it for what it is. But being mindful is as simple as making that connection with Crystal in the morning, going for a walk with Jack. Those things clear your mind of all that other stuff that's hanging around. And it's a tool that I think, yeah, sure, it gets spoken about a lot, but it's not something that we use. And here you are using it, putting it into place, and it's really working for you, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, we all talk about it, and I think, even on a trade, there's a lot of us say, you got to do this, we've got to do that, but, putting it into action is different, and really, you guys, we just got to do it. Don't talk about it, and was always, you keep saying it, just fucking do it. So, and at the end, when he put that post up, I was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to fucking do it. Yeah. It is what it is, and you don't know. It's a change. Sometimes it's scared. It still scares me. Sometimes I come home and it just bawl my eyes out. And she was like, "Oh, what's going on? Were you alright?" And it's nothing. It's just an emotion that's just come in, or like a song, and it's just brought me back to to that place.
Yeah.
But before, I used to freak out. I used to flight really bad, and sometimes I'll go crazy. Anyone that sort of says anything, or to the point I'll be like going through a rampage. But now seeing, the psychologist and, really going through and understanding the key points of my feelings and those emotions and where they come from, I think it helped me sort of realize, oh, okay, that emotion is from there. Okay, cool. Then you sort of sit with it for a little bit, but then don't let it take over your life or the rest of the day or that 1 hour. So I try to think of something kind of happy, like what's beautiful out there, and that kind of changes my way of thoughts. So, it could be anything. It could be, having a T-bone, like a good old T-bone steak. Or,
you're talking lots of language.
I identify with that, man. Good T-bone fixes everything.
Oh, yeah. Like a good meal. Like us guys, we just like good meat, having a good feed. But it's just small things. That's why I always enjoy the small things, because, before you know it, you never know. Being in a car accident, my partner, she works in individual care services, so she cares for, older people, and I see it on hand, and, it's sad.
It is sad. Yeah. And you make a great point. Life's over in the blink of an eye, whether it be because you've gotten to the end and you're an old fella and, it's gone before you know it, or something horrible happens tomorrow. You just don't know. When your time's up, it's up. So you do need to take those moments to enjoy just the little things in every day. And it can be, look, it really is as simple as an exercise that we use with my husband. So he's had 2 breakdowns. He's really found life tough at times, and at his really difficult points in time, exercise he would use is just to stop. So he might feel a bit panicky, or might feel super stressed, or like you say, very angry, because one way or another those feelings come out. You can't stop them. Or he might be bawling on the job site, hiding in a corner because he doesn't want the other blokes to see him. And the trick for him in those moments is to stop, take 5 breaths, look around and see 5 things he can hear. Have a look and think about 5 things he can see and 5 things he could do moving forward from that. So that just touch base, I suppose, and bringing you back to the reality of right now, rather than getting stuck in those thoughts, because it's the stuff that's in our head that messes us up on a daily basis. And it's really hard you can't control that unless you mindfully stop and pause and think about something different, which is exactly what you're explaining by what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like your big muscles, Vetea. They didn't just pop out overnight.
Nah.
Or one session at the gym. And, if we want to rely on those muscles or those strengths, we've got to actually develop them over time. And it might seem a little, simplistic to say that your life's journey has actually developed a lot of those skills. And I guess this is the thing, and it's why Coxie and I are passionate about talking to guys like you, and, some of our real tradie wives as well, is just to highlight the strengths that you listeners have out there. We've all built up a lot of these strengths. We just haven't learned how to use them. It's like you could be the muscliest guy in the gym, but if you haven't learned how to pick up a barbell the right way and get it overhead in a way that doesn't hurt you, then those massive strengths are no good to you. And so in dealing with life, dealing with business, we've all been through stuff, we've all had our own journeys. It's actually learning to draw on that as a way of building that strength and then taking that into our day-to-day interactions with other people, with customers or whoever, and actually, being able to apply our experience, being able to apply the stuff that we've been through. So I'm probably talking in riddles a bit here, but I'm renowned for doing that.
Yeah, you do it well. This is what I'm doing wrong at the gym, right? I'm just lifting one weight once and expecting it to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not working, is it?
No, you've got to pick it up and put it down 1,000 times.
A few times. Yeah, okay. Good to know, mental check.
But this is the thing, right? I hear people complain about how hard business is and how shit staff are and, how crap the government is and all this sort of stuff. And they change something once or, we see them, they sign up to programs, they go to a seminar and it's a one-day seminar. And they come away from that and 3 months later it's like, oh, well, that was a waste of time, nothing changed. It's like, well, because you didn't actually stick at it day after day after day. You've got to really learn constantly how to apply and reapply the things that we're exposed to. So it's a weird paradox, I guess, that guys like you, Vetea, who have been through so much, and guys like Pete and so many of the people that we talk to actually have this amazing reservoir of strength that you can call on and apply that in your daily life and your daily business. So I think you're well placed to kick it, man. It's just I don't think a lot of us actually recognise how strong we really are, despite how shit some of the stories sound. I sit here listening to your story, and I know you've had a bit of leaky face syndrome there, mate. And I was doing pretty tough, not letting my face leak as well when you're sharing your story. And it's like, we could focus on how incredibly shit it is, and I think embracing that journey and realising the position that puts us in for living an amazing life, I think is where that's where the juice is.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a very long diatribe.
It was huge, boss. That was massive.
Long
Epic
stuff happened in a
proportions. Yep, there we are. Sorry, guys.
Save me, please. Save me, Coxie.
I just really wanted to touch base on something you shared with the Trade Desk members yesterday. You were talking about how you'd connected with a soul. That's, again, another wanky term, but I believe that's what exactly happened for you.
That's 2 strikes, Coxie.
Yep.
3 and you're out.
Sorry, guys.
3 and I'm muting your microphone.
Wouldn't be the first time. But that really happened for you yesterday. You were on a site. You met with a builder, wasn't it? And you could see that he was struggling.
Yeah, I guess I've never met him. So this job is pretty much it's in Kyogo, and I was pretty much doing my thing, and he rocked up and he said, "Oh, sorry, I've got to just drop my kids off." So that was kind of a red flag for me. Then because it was literally 8:30, 9 o'clock. Being a builder, he should have been on site 6 o'clock, and I beat him to the site. So I was like, okay. So I just kept buying my thing. Then he started talking about, about what he's doing. And the next minute I could tell he was a bit, just his voice changed. And that's when I asked a few different questions. Oh, how are you? Are you okay? Have you had a sudden breakup? Is this a fresh, is this fresh? And he only said a few things, and he said, yeah. And then he sort of, I could tell he was upset. So I said, look, I know what you're going through. I explained to him of what I went through, especially when I wanted to kill myself back then. And, I was sitting in my mum's home in the bedroom, and with a knife ready to go, and and I said to him, I lost everything in one day. Where I lost my business, I couldn't drive, I lost my family, I couldn't see my kids. That was hard because being Polynesians, we live on family. We are big on family, and that's all we're all about. So my biggest morals was like, when you're gonna have kids and family, you stick together and nothing, and that was a failure for me, and that was massive. And I couldn't sort of live because I couldn't redo it. I couldn't go back and change it, and so I just had to face the fact that was done. And when I explained that to him, he sort of went, "Man, you're hitting everything that I can't explain." And I said the frustration part is that you're wanting it to come out, but the anxiety, the depression, and your way of thoughts is not working because you work on your own. You come into a job site, you got no more passion, you don't want to build. So then now work's going to go down. It's going to start within 2 to 3 months when work goes down. And I've seen it. And he's just, he got scared and started bawling his eyes out. And I said, you can do it, but, you got to have the right people. You got to go and see someone so that you can really open up. I'm going through it. By me explaining all those, I think it made him vulnerable. And he didn't know me from nothing. And he's like, "I'm so sorry. Like, I don't even know you. And, I just feel like you've just answered all my questions." But I think the biggest thing I took from that is that I'm glad that I've given him some sort of hope that there's no use doing something stupid because you still got your kids. And I said to him, go travel. That's how I did it. Travel, get that bug, get out of change it. That's why I travel, because I needed something different. Because if you start doing everything the same, you still go back in that same place. You have to shake it up. You got to get out of yourself, and you got to make that big change. But it's got to come from you. There's not. And I said to him, like, no matter how many people bang it on your head, if you don't want it in your heart, it's not going to happen. You got to put the hard yards yourself, but you got to want it. Either want it for saying, well, I'm going to do it for my kids, or I'm going to do it for myself, or have a reason. Have your why, and like you speak about, But it touched me just seeing him, a builder like that's, broad and that just bawling his eyes out, And but it's touching. It was awesome. I felt awesome doing it,
I think it's a really important point that we begin to have these conversations. I think the biggest part of the problem that I see from where I'm standing is nobody is talking about how they're feeling. And perhaps it's a little bit easier for me to say as a woman, but in actual fact, women aren't really talking about the way they feel either. I don't think any of us are. We're not sharing these hard stories. We're not talking about this tough stuff that we've been through or how shit we feel. I feel really shit today. This is going wrong for me. I don't know what to do. My marriage is broken up, or I'm fighting with the missus, or whatever it might be. We're not sharing that. And if we do, it's really on a surface level. It's pretty rare to find people that are comfortable to be vulnerable and to sit in that vulnerability and allow themselves to share their journey and where they are. And I think if we can start having some of those conversations, first and foremost, you were recognizing for that gentleman yesterday that he's not alone, and it's really easy to feel alone. Because you think you're the only person going through it.
Definitely.
Especially for blokes, I find we're really shit at accepting that we're not the only ones. Yes. I remember sitting in the spare room of my own house, because I lived in the spare room of my house when things turned to crap for me, for nearly a year, just because I didn't want my daughter to know that everything had fallen apart. And she was only 4 years old when it all happened, and I would sit in there until all hours of the night, locked in the spare room of my own fucking house, just feeling so alone, despite doing what I do, working with people, working with business owners and talking to people every day, and most people didn't know. My clients didn't know. They had no idea what was going on in the background, because like you said earlier, Vetea, I hid it. I just kept it all shoved down inside, and I kept up the facade. And I think blokes... There's this whole thing about, getting us to talk to other people and getting blokes to talk about their problems with their mates or with some of the great organisations out there. And I actually don't think they're going to. I don't think as men we will ever really talk about our stuff, except in those moments where, like you had with the builder on site, you know, that guy on site, where it's like, it's got to be right place, right time kind of stuff. And then there's got to be enough people around like you, Vetea, and, you know, if we can train this army of fellas to recognise when someone is a bit shit, and, you know, it's the whole "are you okay" thing, is that when they say, "Oh, yeah, no, mate, I'm all right," is that we actually have the balls to say, "Oh, I think you're full of shit, man. I don't think you're okay."
Yeah, you're right.
And just have the courage to actually go there with our mates, because they're not going to just sit down and go, "Actually, you know what? Now that you ask, you know, I've had this happen and this happen." It's just, I don't think that's reality. I think it's going to have to be from the person asking the question and having the courage to go there with people. So
no, you're right. Was like you definitely have the balls to do it. Yeah, and if you don't sort of ask the right questions, you're kind of not going to get it. But I don't know. I guess it's a feeling because I'm going through it, so I can feel his energy, and it's putting it out, and it's making me I'm nervous. So I kind of want to find out and go, "Hey, dude, like, what's up?" Because you're making me really like edgy here. But after I did that, I think he kind of relaxed and was more kind of, okay, I'm going to get into work, and it got him sort of, and I felt good going, oh well, it's got him all motivated again. And I said to him, just take each day as it comes, you know, like each day is different, and then you got to enjoy something different the next day. So just small things, small steps, you know, everything's timing. That's how I live my life, timing, you know, and just be patient, because it does happen, you know. But I guess on those times when people don't sort of talk about it, it's because they kind of sit in that mindset of, oh, you know, like I'm going through so much that I don't know where I'm going, you know. And I went through that, you know, a month ago, and I'm, you know, struggled so hard, and I'm so glad that, you know, I've reached out to both of you, and but, you know, just being in that state was scary, you know. I felt scared for my partner putting up with my crap, you know, like, you know, and, you know, if it wasn't for her as well, and for us communicating and finding that norm, it's hard, you know.
So, Vetea, you've mentioned a couple of times about reaching out, you know, whether it's to us and the trade desk sort of from that angle, or to some of the other people around you. What gets you to that point of actually deciding to reach out? What was it for you?
I don't know. I guess I'm a fixer. That's how I look at myself. So I've got the biggest heart.
Every other male on the planet, mate.
Yeah, I just want, like, I just want to, I don't know, as soon as I see someone, like, I'll take my shirt off for you, you know what I mean? Like, I'll do anything for you. So I guess it's my personality that comes out, that as soon as I see someone in need and I can help them, I'm there.
What about for you, though? So what got you to the point where you reached out for help for Vetea?
My partner. My partner helped me sort of go, look, we're either going to split and this is it, or we're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, listening to you guys for so long, and then now meeting you guys now.
How's the nerves going now, mate?
Oh, man.
You're doing so well.
I'm more nervous than you are, mate.
And, yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's just been so surreal, like, you know, about, you know, I just felt like, you know, you guys were part of me, and, you know, being in my ear all the time, and I think I just needed that help, and that it's more like guidance, you know, like, and someone to listen out and just hear me out and just give me some sort of little tips. Don't give me 50,000 tips, just give me one, like, and then you just work with one, then you do the next one, but you do the one that you did yesterday. You know, like, and it's just small steps.
It's a great point.
You know, I'm still working on it myself. I'm still going through it now. Like, you know, I come home and just burst bawling my eyes out, and then, you know, Chris was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "I don't know. I've got this thing in the, but I'm fine." You know, like, it's just me freaking out. My mind just going a million miles an hour.
Yeah.
I just got to go, hey, relax. It's all good.
Yep.
You know?
Can I just take a moment to mention the partners? So I'm like your partner. I supported my husband through 2 breakdowns, and every other day there's some difficulties in our lives, and it's not unusual. It's far more common than any of us are talking about. And I'd just probably like to take a moment to recognise the partners and the roles that they do play, whether it be the male partner or the female partner when somebody's having difficulties. It's a really difficult and challenging role to take, and I'd really like, if you're a partner who has a partner that's going through a bit of a hard time at the moment, I'd really encourage you to reach out as well, because you also need some support in what you're going through. It's not the easiest of roles to be that sounding board and to be the guidance and do it on your own. I don't think any of us are meant to do these things on our own. So if you're listening and you're in that position, I'd really encourage you to reach out to some of those people around you as well and seek a bit of guidance and support so that you all have that support you need to get through this point of time. Because that's another point I'd really like to make, is that these points are points of time. They're not continual, they're not forever. In my own experience, I can say, yes, my husband had 2 breakdowns, but he's had a lot of good life around that as well. Yeah. It's not his forever. It's not his, daily pattern. It's just a point in time, and it passes, and it can pass with some help and support for everybody. So they were 2 really big points I wanted to make out of what you're talking about here, Vetea.
Nah, having a partner like her has really changed my life on learning on, I guess, like more learning on what love is, and then focusing on that. And the biggest key is communicating, and because I love her so much, and then what I was going through, I felt selfish by going, hey man, I'm treating you like shit. I'm just like a total fucking asshole by me doing this, or me overreacting over little things. When we would fight over little shit things, And I even ring you, Wise, and go, Wise, what the fuck? Like, I'm going off my head, and it's not that, and it's like, and I had to really look at myself and go, mate, you're really hurting the person that loves you the most, the person that's going to stand by you all the way to the end. You're hurting her. If you don't make that change, then you're going to lose that one person, and all you've done the whole life is searching for love, and this is it. Like, you're about to lose that person if you don't make that change, and that's my goal right now is to serve her, to provide for her, just to make sure that she's fine. And I know she's going through a tough time dealing with what I'm going through, and she's not showing it, but deep inside I know she's struggling, yeah, and it's hard.
Yep. So, Vetea, what's if we look ahead to the future of Timber Vision and business, and the unfolding project that is the Vetea project, like we've all got our own little renovation project that we're working on in life. What's the future look like, mate?
I guess at the moment with Timber Vision, I'm pretty much peeling it back layer by layer. So I'm restructuring my whole business at the moment because, like I said, we all know how to make money. We just don't know how to put our money in certain places.
Yep.
And I've just done so many years where I've just work and not sort of gain anything out of it. So, but at the moment, so I'm just trying to learn my numbers. I'm gonna, there's a few partners that are on the trade desk that I'm gonna get them to help me, and then hopefully after that we can get someone in and expand so I can get off the tools.
Nice, mate.
That's so exciting. That's awesome.
Awesome stuff. So I guess I don't really know how to bring these interviews to a close because there is so much that we cover, and mate, I guess I need to express my gratitude again for you to share this, not just with us but with our listeners. So don't feel nervous, mate, but there's thousands of people going to listen to this. It'll be all over social media, Vetea. But mate, I do like to ask our guests, and I really like asking this question of guests like yourself, is if you had 1,000, or we should probably say 100,000 tradies and their partners in a room, what's one piece of advice you would like to leave them with?
I don't know, probably find love and define what love is for you, because that changes your whole perspective of either your partner, your kids, your grandmother, or that, anyone. Because once you have that and compassion, and that helps with within yourself, probably more about yourself. If you're struggling, find yourself first, because that helps with business, and relationships, kids, money. It helps with learning how to understand the stress as well, but find love.
Nice, mate.
I love it. I love it.
It'll be right up your alley, Coxie.
It is.
Yeah.
You're speaking to my heart now.
So your business is called Timber Vision Concept, mate.
Yeah.
If listeners want to go and stalk you and see how big your guns really are, they're I don't know, mate. We might have to have a gun off. I think you beat me, mate. You beat me. I can't snatch 145 kilos. And for those listening, Vetea is not the tallest guy around, right? I'm taller than Vetea.
Yep.
I didn't even notice that. Only boys notice the height thing.
No, it's just when he talks about weightlifting. It's like, I'm snatching 145. And I'm looking at Vetea
Short
going,
levers, mate.
yeah, that's a pretty good power to weight ratio, dude.
That's right.
You'd be really good at sanding the varnish off floors, man.
Yeah.
But website or social media handles, give us all the places people can find out about you.
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Facebook, or you can go to timbervisionconcept.com.au.
Sweet. And
you need to go and check out the videos that he puts together. They're pretty sweet.
Yeah. So what's your Facebook? Is it just Timber Vision Concept, mate?
Yeah, just Timber Vision Concept. Check out the videos. There's a few of them. I love doing videos now, so I'm just working on video editing and
Sweet.
having a go, really.
Good on you.
Good on you, mate. And you know what? That is so much of getting results in business and in life is have a go.
So
try something different. Just have a crack. Get in there and have a chop at it. And that's the best way to learn. So, again, mate, got to say thank you so much for your time today. Really, really grateful for you to share your story, Vetea. And I expect that things will go really well for you, mate. You're a beautiful man.
Heartfelt thanks from me for being so vulnerable, not only today, but in every day. Really appreciate that you ever took the time to reach out to us so that we could play a small part in your big journey. We really care about you, and thank you for allowing us into your home.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, man.
Okay, if that's brought up any issues for you, we just want to end this program today by saying you can get in touch with Mates in Construction on 1300 642 111, or you can go to the website matesinconstruction.org.au. Alternatively, Lifeline 13 11 14. And again, a big thanks to V. That's quite a emotional episode.
Yes, I know both you and I were choking them back.
Yes, we did have a big debrief before we got here, or a pre-brief, so that we could try and keep it in check. But yeah, that was a great episode. I hope everyone found as much value in that as we did.
And as you said in the middle of the interview as well, Coxie, to the partners out there, to the supporters of tradies, if you sense that your tradie is doing it tough or maybe a bit off kilter or whatever, please have the courage to go there with them and ask them and poke them. And if they blow up about it, then I think all the better. But it's got to get this stuff out in the open. And if you're not sure how to do that, by all means, reach out to those same organisations. They are very good at upskilling the support people. And again, Coxie and I are always here. You can reach us via all our social media channels or via the website, and we're always happy to help the supporters as well as the tradies. So thanks again for listening, and enjoy your day. Be mindful.
You've been listening to the Tradies in Business podcast with Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Find out more about today's guest, tools for your trade business, and other cool stuff at tradiesinbusiness.com.au.